Hello, candle lovers. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Greg. This is all about candles. Let's get right into today's review. I just finished up Fall Farmstand from Homeworx by Slatkin & Co. Nobody does these beautiful photographic wraparound labels as well as Homeworx does. I mean, this is just some gorgeous, gorgeous apple photography we're getting here. Standard Homeworx format, 4 wicks, 18 ounces. I don't think this candle's available anymore, but I did want to put a review up for it anyways. Who knows, it could always come back, so this one's for posterity. We got a lot of scent notes on this guy. Oh, and we also have a scent story. The season has arrived with fields of bright orange pumpkins ready for picking. Fresh pumpkin is pureed with autumnal spices of nutmeg and cinnamon stick with a bit of sugared tonka bean for extra creaminess. Ooh, extra creaminess. The fragrance notes are pumpkin puree, nutmeg, cinnamon stick, and sugared tonka bean, and broken down to top, middle, and base. On the top, we have orange zest, cinnamon stick, ground nutmeg. In the mid, we have salted caramel, sweet pumpkin puree, and on the bottom, we have creamy butter, brown sugar, and sugared tonka bean. And yeah, this candle definitely has more of a sweetness to it than just a straightforward apples and pumpkins fragrance would. And I think it's actually really nicely balanced. On the top, what I'm getting the most is apples and spice, apples, spice, a sort of blend of kitchen spices, a very bright cinnamon. The cinnamon in this is quite bright, but it doesn't lean into red hot cinnamon territory. It almost is creeping up to that. And when I first put my nose on it, I was a little bit too much cinnamon, but it actually doesn't come across that way when it's burning. It's actually quite nice and nuanced. And so yeah, the top is that apple and cinnamon note, and then in the base is kind of the pumpkin puree. And it's very light on the pumpkin. There is no, we've talked about this before, but pumpkin doesn't really have that much of a fragrance to it. What you usually get from a pumpkin spice note is the pumpkin spice blend, cinnamon, nutmeg, etc. And so in the mid of this, you've got a bright cinnamon and apple, and then in the mid you have other spices coming in there. And something that is a little bit caramelly, very nutmeggy as well, sort of a caramel nutmeg mid. And then in the base, it's a fairly smooth, nice vanilla. It's not a super sweet vanilla, and it does come across a little bit brown sugary as well in the base. Now, the scent note says it's creamy, but I don't pick up. It says a bit of sugared tonka bean for extra creaminess. This doesn't strike me as a creamy candle at all. It's a really nicely balanced sort of fall fruit and spice candle. Yeah, I think Homeworx does things like this really well. Homeworx is one of the few brands that I consistently like their more fruit-forward fragrances. Goose Creek and Bath & Body Works, most of their fruity candles really miss the mark for me, but I think it's one of Homeworx's big strengths. Fruits, florals, and woods, I think Homeworx really excels at, but this is a 2023 pour, yeah. And what Homeworx is not excelling at, and I hear that they've gotten a little bit better, and I am burning a more recent Homeworx candle, a newer version of Warm Cider Donut, and that is actually fairly strong, but this was just not where I wanted it to be for strength and throw, you guys. In fact, I feel like it smells like it should be a little bit stronger. When I smell it on cold, I was anticipating it to be a little bit stronger than what it was. And what it was a 6, I did burn it all the way down to the very bottom. I let it extinguish itself. That murkiness just comes from me just kind of letting it go off and end its own life. But it was a really nice clean burn all the way down to the bottom. I did notice one of the wicks was quite quite crooked. And when I was, either when I was blowing it out actually, I would have to take my wick dipper and kind of straighten the wick in hopes that the next time it would burn straight. But one of these wicks was just always crooked, and constantly me with my wick dipper trying to like fix it. And oh gosh, I just wish it had been stronger, folks. I wish it had been stronger. This was a 6, and that is like a 6 in like my bedroom. And this isn't really the type of fragrance that I love to burn in there. And so to be generous, in a more medium to large space, it was a 6. In my more open area, which is where I burned it the most, it was like a 5 or a 5.5. So it had a little bit of presence to it, but gosh, I was really hoping that the apple and the spice note in this would project a little bit more. Oh, such a missed opportunity. Lovely fragrance, but I feel like this candle should be a 7. This is the kind of candle that I would like to be a solid 7 in a more open area, And it smells like on cold, like that it should and could be a 7, but it just wasn't. And it's such a shame because I really do like the fragrance, and I think it's such a nice alternative to all of the pumpkin and apple candles that the other companies are doing, because it's just a little bit more like nuanced and special to me. But gosh, man, really had to search for it when I was like burning it in my living area. Yeah, I wish it had been stronger. And that's all I have for you folks today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You can follow me on Instagram now at allabootcandles, and email me your burning questions at allabootcandles@gmail.com. If you could leave me a like, comment, subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. And until next time, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, folks. Bye now.